course, the ESPN.com NFL Power Rankings came out earlier this week. Here is the bottom 10 teams in the league according to our panel of experts. Things are looking up for the Dolphins. Just 1-15 last season. They are now out of last place, moving all the way up to second to last place. Only the Falcons are worse, so only place to go is up. So let's bring in Jeff Darlington. He's a Dolphins beat writer down there for the Miami Herald. Hey, Jeff, 1-15, man, is really not much to do except go up. So what do you make of the Dolphins being ranked second to last?
Big day in South Florida, moving up a big spot.
Go have a parade celebration.
That's what happens when you bring in Bill Parcells. $4 million to move up one spot. So, you know.
What about the excitement level down there right now? I mean, with Bill Parcells there, you got Jake Long, the first overall draft pick. You just went through your first draft. What is the excitement level right now in South Beach about this team?
Yeah, there is some optimism. You know, you bring in Bill Parcells and you Black Book with his guys and his ability to scout personnel out, and there's going to be some excitement, especially after such a drastically depressing season last year. You know, you're bringing in Jake Long. That's going to be huge on the left side of the line. It allows you to really fix some things along the offensive line. You know, and there's still some questions, obviously. There's still questions about the skills positions, the defensive backfield. But, yeah, just overall, I mean, after a 1-15 season that could have easily been 0-16, it's absolutely looking a little bit brighter on this day, even if not that much.
Hey, the great thing is the Florida Marlins right now in first place, man. So things could get better for the Dolphins next year. Could be a quick turnaround. But are Dolphins fans resigned to the fact that this rebuilding is going to take a while?
Yeah. I think that people understand that it's not a situation. I mean, when you've seen what's happened here in the past with Nick Saban, and it wasn't that easy for him, obviously not easy enough, and same thing with Cam Cameron, that didn't work out. And you go back to Dave Wanstead, I mean, fans are starting to understand this is not as easy of a fix as maybe they had hoped each time a new regime comes in. So, you know, there is hope with Bill Parcells because he's done it before. He's a proven turnaround guy. You know, he's bringing in Sperano and Jeff Ireland, his general manager, and making some decisions to rebuild in the trenches. So I think that people like the moves that he's making, if only because he's Bill Parcells.
Hey, Jeff, you talked about all the coaches that they've gone through since Don Shula retired. What about all the quarterbacks they went through since Dan Marino was let go or retired? Yeah. John Beck, Chad Henne right now vying for the top spot. What are you hearing down there from the fans as far as who they think is the best quarterback to give them the best chance of winning down there right now?
I don't know if the fans, it's the same kind of thing. I think it's more of a show me mode. Just don't tell me about it. Just show me that you can play quarterback. And I personally think that John Beck's going to be the starter on day one. I know Josh McCown's going to come in here and give him some competition. Chad Henne, I think he's got some development that he's going to have, but eventually it could be a good value to have on the roster, if nothing more than that. But I really think John Beck is working very hard with David Lee, the quarterback's coach, to improve his game. They're working on getting his release point a little bit higher so he can get that ball over some of these big offensive linemen. But Bill Parcells tells John Beck, don't be worried about your height. You know, he's about 6 foot. But he's telling him, don't worry about the fact that people say you have a lack of height, because Bill Parcells reminds him he didn't win a Super Bowl with Drew Bledsoe, and he didn't win a Super Bowl with Vinny Testaverde, two guys that are around 6'5". He won 2 Super Bowls with Phil Simms, a guy who's shorter than both of them. So he's told John Beck, don't worry about that. We're going to get you to the point where you can be a starter in this league. All
right, we'll see what happens there. Hey, you know what? We know Jason Taylor can dance, and he might be in the finals of Dancing with the Stars, but will he be in a Miami Dolphins uniform next season? Does your gut tell you that?
Have you been watching Dancing with the Stars? Because I've had to.
What do you think of Jason Taylor's dancing skills? And then tell me if he'll be dancing on the defense football for the Miami Dolphins.
I think he will be back. I think that I've been saying this even before the draft. Just too much of an impasse between what teams are going to give up from and what the Dolphins are willing to accept. They realize that they've got a skilled guy. You know, Jason Taylor might want to play for a contender, and the Dolphins might want their guy at this point in the offseason. But what it comes down to is the fact that they still realize that he's got a lot of value and he's going to be a solid football player, and you don't want to just accept a third-round pick, which is what, from a lot of the general managers that I spoke to around the owners' meetings, said that he was worth. So what could happen midway through the year is his value could appreciate, and a team like Jacksonville, who's a defensive end away from a Super Bowl and realizes that, might be willing to give up a first-round pick in 2009. Just kind of like Chris Chambers going to San Diego last year because they needed a wide receiver, willing to give up that second-round pick. Same thing could happen with Jason Taylor, but I don't think that there's going to be a trade until midway through the season, if at all.
And Jeff, I know you want him to be back on the team, if only to get free salsa lessons from Jason Taylor.
Seriously, this guy. I wonder how much the teammates are going to give him crap for this.
Oh,
but
you know it's going to happen.
They're actually more impressed than they thought.
You know it's going to happen. The finally tanned Jeff Darlington hanging out with us here on pregame. You're looking good.
You know?
You're looking good, bro. Take care, man.
It.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
More NFL news. Kevin Everett continues to make a miraculous recovery from that spinal cord injury that nearly killed him back in September. Well, today the Bills released the former tight end, but it's not a bad move or a cruel move. Actually, it clears the way for Everett to receive his disability benefits from the league. Buffalo placing Everett on the Wade failed physical list, making him eligible for long-term disability and a lump sum payment. Of course, Everett suffered a career-ending spinal cord injury on week 1 of the regular season, but has made an amazing recovery, even beginning to walk again since. Here's what the Bills said in a statement about their decision. Quote, "We had numerous discussions with the league in dealing with this process to assist them in the best way possible. Kevin will always remain a Buffalo Bill in the same way that Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, and so many others for him are held in the highest regard by our franchise." The Red Sox without manager Terry Francona tonight. In fact, the skipper will miss tonight and tomorrow night's game after the death of his mother-in-law. Bench coach Brad Mills will run the team in his absence. And tonight, the Red Sox trying to hold on to first place in the East, hooking up with the Baltimore Orioles, and the Red Sox out on top early in this game, 3-0, just going to the top of the second inning. Manny Ramirez with an RBI single. Guy got 3 RBI in his last 2 games. Baltimore's won 3 of 4.